It makes some goofy noises. Okay guys, we are in the BMW i7 xDrive 60. If you haven't seen my full tour and review of this crazy new electric vehicle, definitely go check that out. But I want to show you guys the exterior first on this video, because it's still also insane. Automatic opening doors, check that out. Let's go take a quick look at the exterior. Now, the lights always turn off when I exit the vehicle, and the vehicle always turns off when I just open the door. So I'm gonna take you on a quick tour of the exterior. And yeah, so it's in this oxide gray metallic paint. We have 21-inch aero wheels on this one. We have the newer style BMW key fob right here, which is pretty nice. And yeah, I've definitely grown on the looks over this past week. If you haven't, that's okay. I'm not gonna shame you, but I think it's starting to look a little cool, especially at night. The lighting elements and everything looks really kind of cool. The grille does light up. It's not on right now because the vehicle turns off every single time I get out of it. But I think it looks absolutely epic. I think in this tamer spec, I don't really like the M Sport package. That big black fascia up front kind of ruins the whole front end. I kind of like this cleaner body color look. And these taillights are also really cool. Check out this pattern back here. Really like that. And yeah, it's just a pretty cool thing. Massive BMW badges. The rear seats are nuts, but definitely go check out my full tour and review on those. Power opening doors as well. Let's hop inside and take this thing for a drive, because it is actually quite impressive. All I have to do is put my foot on the brake and the door shuts. Got that soft close as well. Awesome stuff here from BMW. And let's start this thing up and head off. Okay guys, putting this i7 to drive is pretty simple. It's on, you know it's on. I love that there's a stop start button, and you literally just pop into drive. You also have a B mode for, I guess, an additional regenerative braking mode, but I usually just keep it in D or B depending on how I feel like driving. We are in the sport mode right now, so you can kind of get a little bit of a louder sound of that Hans Zimmer-esque sound here. You want to hear that right now. Sounds really cool, very futuristic sounding, and it's so smooth. We have two electric motors in this particular one. I think 536 horsepower, 549 pound-feet of torque. I keep mixing up these numbers, so I'll put them right there for you guys. Over 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. I've been getting decent amount of range. I maxed out around 300-ish, 308 miles on these 21-inch wheels, but that will vary depending on your wheel size for sure. Yes, the blinkers work on this BMW. And it's rear wheel steering. This particular one has active anti-roll bar stabilization stuff. There's all the technology on this thing that you could possibly need to kind of keep you planted on the road. There's adjustable dampers, adjustable steering. It is super quiet in here. I'm just whispering and you guys can probably hear me really well. Super impressive stuff here. And you know, this is not a sporting type of vehicle. This is a luxury car, and BMW has been very adamant about that. This is a next generation high-tech luxury car from them. And it had, no, even though that is true, it still is capable of handling itself relatively as a luxury car very, very well, thanks to all these technological advancements they've kind of thrown into the vehicle. And there's still some good dynamics here. It's not a barge, it doesn't feel like a boat. And that's impressive, especially for a vehicle that's over 200 inches long and that weighs around or a little bit over 6,000 pounds. So kudos to BMW for kind of working in all that stuff into the dynamics of the car. And I have to say, for the past week, I really have enjoyed driving this thing, just because it's so insanely comfortable when you want it to be, and it can be a little bit fun and quick also when you want it to be as well. There is an M70 version of this coming out, as well as you can get a gas version with a little bit more of an aggressive like performance style package. No true M models obviously, but for a 7 Series, but there are some more sportier variants coming out if you do want that. But this is plenty quick, and I think more than enough than you really need. I don't think you need more power. This is a luxury car and it has more than enough power for you guys. We do a little bit of a 0 to 60 pull right now. It makes some goofy noises, those Hans Zimmer-esque sounds. but it's quick enough. And especially on the highway, it's so quiet, planted, and smooth. You honestly have to be careful because you may be going way too quickly, which I may have encountered a few times in this drive, but it's just that good. It is you can tell it was a fully German design car because it's meant to go on that Autobahn and cruise at 120 miles an hour and you won't feel a single thing. It's impressive. And I'll show you around this corner going onto this highway right now that it can handle itself well for what it is, and that's what I think I found really impressive. And not even to mention the insanity of this interior, which we'll get into in a second. Really feel that rear wheel steering kicking in the car in the corners, active anti-roll bars, super planted. And you know, and this is what I meant about the dangerous speeds. We're gonna bring that back down. It's really quick actually, so I would never have to really worry about needing more power in this thing. But you can definitely feel that the combination of the low center of gravity and just all that tech going on, keeping this thing kind of planted, even around those sharp corners for this kind of vehicle is nuts. I owned a Volvo S90, which is similar in length, obviously nowhere even close in technology and features and stuff, but that thing truly felt like a barge driving around. This is just absolutely insane of how well BMW was able to manage the weight on this thing. I think the Lucid and the Tesla Model S and the Taycan all are way sportier vehicles in terms of their driving dynamics. They feel sharper, more nimble. So if you want that, don't even look at the i7. It's not meant for that. It's meant for cruising and just pure efficiency and luxury. And now that we're on the highway, you can kind of see, and it's a little bit dim out, sun is setting, you can see this incredible interior. The ambient lighting is gorgeous. We have gesture controls to kind of control your audio stuff and some other functions of the vehicle. And this one does have the optional Drive Assist Pro package, so it can fully drive itself on the highway. There's no lane change. I think that's coming in a new BMW update. So I can literally just press our cruise control mode here and it activates driving assist. And you have 3 settings, so there's really just a regular function, and then you have a typical like steering assist function where it can move itself, and then there's the full assist function where it will actually technically kind of drive itself completely, which is really impressive. It's beeping at me because the camera is on my head and there's cameras that are supposed to be looking at my eyes, and it thinks I'm not looking at the road, so I may not be able to activate that right now, but if I can get a video of it, I'll definitely show you guys how that works. Nonetheless, it's super comfortable and soft on the highway, and I love this sport mode, how you have that kind of like this two-tone interior, though when I press into the My Modes, you have a lot of different options for your modes and settings here, which you can kind of configure. You can even tell the car to kind of like select a mode for you, so I could just say, hey BMW, activate digital art mode.
Sure.
There you go.
I will activate the digital art mode.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But this is like an example of one of the modes. Really cool with this ambient lighting, and even the roof up here will light up even more so at night with all those streaks up there. Really impressive stuff. And each mode has a cool different sound theme going on to it as well, which I think is really fun. And you know, it's just a fun little gimmick and stuff. But yeah, this thing is so quiet and comfortable on the highway, and I think that's really where it comes into play. And I can change around all these different gauges, and this heads-up display, first of all, is absolutely fantastic. Really love it. But on this digital gauge here, I can also change a whole bunch of different content. I can see my efficiency, I can see my range estimation, and I have to say, note on range, this thing is a very conservative, very scared number, because I've gone way further than what this thing keeps estimating. I remember I left at one point today at 176 miles on a 45 to 50 mile journey, and when I got there, it still said like 170 miles. So I don't know what it's exactly calculating, but it's very conservative, and I think this thing is way more efficient than I think these numbers are kind of portraying it to be, which I guess is a good thing, but these numbers do get you scared sometimes, which is interesting. Content-wise, you have like an AR navigation, you have like your safety system screen as well. The AR is pretty cool. It only displays on the screen, so there's no like AR showing up in your heads-up display, which Mercedes does offer. It's a little bit of a gimmick. I'm still not the biggest fan of it, but it is there if you want it. You also have a map you can have up there, and this can change too. So just because I'm in digital art mode is what it looks like. I can go into my personal mode and really just change it however I want it. I can change the layout of this center display to be the smaller one. I could have it as like this bigger styles, or I could have it as like this hockey stick style that we saw in the digital art mode. So it's really customizable. There's no traditional circular gauges though, so that may be a bummer for some people. I haven't been too kind of bugged out by it because it's pretty simple to use. I just look at the number when how fast I'm going. There's no tachometer, you just have your e-power gauge. So really not too much of a concern there. Now I will say using this infotainment system while driving is horrible. That's why thankfully we still have this iDrive controller here, which is fantastic. We do have full wireless Apple CarPlay. I'm just charging my phone right now because it is dead, and the wireless charger, while it's working fantastically, it is a little bit slow like all wireless chargers are. And you know, iDrive 8, it's okay. iDrive 8.5 I believe is coming out, and it's a little bit more improved. They've kind of worked on this, especially with the climate control issue. This is just a hot mess, which thankfully you can just use the voice activation or just have it on auto most of the time to kind of avoid having any quirks with that stuff. But I have had no issues with CarPlay this week, thankfully. Apple Maps does display in this gauge up here as well as up in your heads-up display, which is fantastic. I love when manufacturers implement that, and I really love how wide it is. It looks so much nicer than a lot of other vehicles. Really well implemented in here, and this display, super crisp, very high quality looking. BMW's, at least in the terms of the technology department, is really knocking out of the ballpark in this. Everything's super quick to use, no lag, no issues at all. I really appreciate that, actually. And their own navigation system is fantastic as well. You also can look up chargers really quickly on this infotainment system, and if I go into settings and I input a DC fast charger into the navigation, it will actually precondition the battery for me when I get to that charging station. So it's nice and warm, and it's ready to charge at as fast speeds as it possibly can charge, so you can get in and out of that charging stop as quick as possible, which is really fantastic. You know, nonetheless, guys, this is just such a wonderful cruising vehicle, especially on the highway. As you can see right now, it's quiet, comfortable. I would love if I can show you this live right now of this active driving system. I'm going to overlay a video of that for you, but really fantastic. And playing with this ambient light throughout the whole driving experience is so much fun. It really is addicting, because especially when it changes into the different modes and you kind of see all the lights cascading around you. It's so cool, especially at night. And these speaker grills additionally light up as well, because, you know, why wouldn't they? And yeah, so of course you don't have to get an electric 7 Series. There is gas options. There's a V8. I believe there's a 6-cylinder plug-in hybrid coming as well with the B58, so that's really cool. So yeah, you have a lot of options with the 7 Series, and I honestly appreciate this vehicle a lot more than the EQS, just because I think it's a little bit more traditional. The EQS is very bold of a design. It's even, I think, even bolder than this, with its almost egg style, very sleek, smooth shape, really no hard lines anywhere. And yes, there's that gigantic optional hyperscreen inside, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm also not a big fan of the regular Mercedes infotainment system. It's a little bit confusing, I think, to use. This is a little bit of a learning curve too. I'm not gonna just like say this is better, but I think it's easier to use when you get used to it. And I think that you still have these traditional controls to control it, and you don't have that in the Mercedes anymore. I do like that and appreciate that a lot. I do like this placement of this horizontal screen versus those tablet style vertical ones in the center console. Okay guys, this thing also has a really cool other package that I think is really cool to mention. So if you haven't seen new BMWs, there's this additional parking kind of pro assist package that has some nuts stuff built into it. So I press this button right here, and not only do I get this really cool camera system, but I can also press more 3D view. I can use my hands to just turn the car around, which sure, yeah, that's cool. But the whole point of this thing is that, just go to parking view right here, park assist view, is that it will find a spot for you and park into it, which some cars can do, but this one does it really well. So I can just start moving, cruising along. It knows there's spots everywhere. As you can see, it's like, hey, you want to park, you want to park, you want to park, you want to park. So let's just pick a spot. So I'm going to press start reverse parking right here. I'm going to take my hands off the wheel, and it's just going to do this because it kind of freaks me out a little bit. And it knows where the spot is, and it will adjust itself to fit into the spot. It will look at this. Oh, that's so weird. So it's going into drive now, because it's like, oh, I messed up, guys. I'm gonna fix myself. Going to reverse. It's a little eerie to watch, and the maneuverability with the rear wheel steering is incredible around spots. I'll do a little bit of a turning radius test for you guys in a second, but check this out. Perfectly in the center too. Good job, BMW. awesome. And it puts into park view too. Absolutely love that. And you can also record paths, so it kind of can remember the path and just copy that path to go in and out of spots. There's a lot of really cool technology going on in here, but that's just the parking feature. And I'm going to show you guys quickly the turning radius of this thing, because it's absolutely nuts. Make sure we're clear here. Now, because we have rear wheel steering, it's not the most degree of rear wheel steering, but it's a pretty impressive degree. So we're in between these two parking spots. Okay, I don't want to automatic park anymore. So I'm just gonna do a quick 3-point turn. Thankfully there are no cars here, but it's pretty tight of a turning radius. You can see where the wheels are turning in the back. I could just go in circles. Now I can tell you right now, if this thing didn't have rear wheel steering, it definitely would have been a much longer circle. But okay, that's enough of that. Anyways, really cool parking technology that BMW is doing here. I just want to show off that feature real quick for you guys. Nonetheless, guys, this has been a wonderful week with the BMW i7. Huge thanks to BMW for providing me with this car for this week. This is a wonderful opportunity, and stay tuned for, obviously, there's more coming on Allcarnews. So I'm going to shut up and let this car do the talking now, because it is such a wonderful cruiser.